Hi everyone, today we're going to see about SOAP web service, WSDL and annotations. In WSDL we're going to see what are the elements useful for building up the WSDL. Similarly in annotations, we're going to see what are the annotations useful for building up the web services. WSDL stands for Web Service Description Language. WSDL is used to describe the web services in an XML format. You can see here 4 types of elements which comprises of the WSDL. So you can see in the WSDL, I will show you in the later tutorials, types, messages, port type, binding. These are the elements which you can able to see in the WSDL, and these tags forms the WSDL. So types defines the XML schema data types used by the web services. Message defines the data elements for each operation. This message is the body which will transfer the data from one end to the other end. Port type describes the operation that can be performed and the messages involved. This is the operation functions which contains the information. So this will be passed. And binding defines the protocol and data format for each port type. Let's see this detailed view of WSDL in the next tutorial. Let's see the SOAP web service annotations. Starting with @web service. So wherever the class which we declared as an @web service, it will be considered as a service. It specifies that the JWS file implements a web service. @web method specifies that the method is exposed as a public operation of the web service. You must explicitly use this annotation to expose a method. If you do not specify this annotation, this method by default is not exposed. If you have a single method under this @web service, that will be considered as an @web method also. If you are using multiple methods under @web service, you should declare this @web method and you should declare that as an false if you doesn't require the web method to be a real web service method. This may be quite confusing. I will explain you in the coding tutorial. @oneway specifies that the method has only input parameter but does not return a value. These annotations must be used only in conjunction with the @web method annotation. @webparam customizes the mapping between the operation input parameters of the web service and elements of the generated WSDL file. Also used to specify the behavior of the parameter. Whatever the value we declare inside this @webparam, you can able to see in the generated WSDL file. While exploring the WSDL file, we will see this thing like how this @webparam is related to the generated WSDL file. Next annotation we gonna see is @handler chain. Associates a web service with an external file that contains the configuration of the handler chain. The configuration includes the list of handlers in the chain, the order in which they execute, the initialization parameter, and so on. So we can have a clone of an XML. Maybe that XML may be useful for us for another chain. So we can use this same configuration, and for initializing the parameters, we use this handler chain. The best usage of a handler chain is we no need to recompile the code. Like once we change this at handler chain, we can see the changes without the recompilation. @SOAP binding specifies the mapping of web service onto the SOAP message protocol. Mostly we use it for style purposing. Like what is the style used for the SOAP, like RPC or document style. Similarly for the parameter stylings, like whether we are using var or wrapped. @SOAP message handler specifies a particular SOAP message handler in an @SOAP message handler array. The annotation includes attributes to specify the class name of the handler, the initialization parameter, list of SOAP headers processed by the handler. @initParam uses annotation in the initParam attribute of the @SOAP message handler annotation to specify the array of parameters, that is name value pairs, that are passed to a handler class during the initiation. Let's see the sample WSDL file. We go through each and every tag and we will see how to navigate from WSDL and reading through this. Let's start with this service name. Here the service name is SOAP Web Service INPL service. You can see here in the code, here this link, localhost link, is mapped to the SOAP Web Service INPL. The same you can see here for the SOAP Web Service INPL. You can see the port number, localhost 8089 was mapped. So from here we have linked to the binding. So from service tag we are navigating to the binding tag, where this SOAP Web Service INPL port binding is there. The binding tag has operations. Since we have one web service method, so the get person is mentioned here. You can see this is the input and output. The input and output are in the string formats, and this binding tag refers the style of the operations and how the input and output types. From here it is mentioning the type as SOAP Web Service. So from here it will go to the port type. The port type is SOAP Web Service. It is mapped here, and inside that operation, port type as the operation is get person, and what is the input and output. So the input here is of type get person, and output will be get person response. The same class, the person class and person response class, these are all bean classes, will be generated while generating the WSDL file. From here it will go to the get person, where it is mentioned here is message. We have seen here the messages of get person and get person response. You can see that inside there is a part name and displayed inside this message tag. This will be the input and this will be the output, which will be mentioned here, and these are the messages it is mentioned here. So this message will be traversed while we are transferring the web service content from one application to the other application. Finally, the types. So inside types in XSD we have all the elements which will be parsed or mentioned. So it will have the parameters which is inside the person and person response class. You can see that inside this XSD, and these are the contents will be traversed from application to application. So I hope you got some idea of how to read through the WSDL file and SOAP annotations. We will see the coding demo with a little more explanation in our next tutorial. See you then. Thank you.